Hello and welcome to Property Investments UK. In today's video we're going to be looking at, do new build developments make sense as buy-to-let investments? So very often when you're maybe looking for property investment deals, you might see a whole range of new build developments, off-plan sites, apartments, houses that are available as potential deals. And sometimes it can be hard to try and understand as whether they're good investments or not, because there certainly has been situations in the past where property markets and cycles have changed during a development process or an off-plan cycle, and then that opportunity, that property, that price range of that kind of potential project and development changes mid-purchase and mid-development. So there's some things to consider as to whether a particular development is going to be worthwhile, certainly, but let's just consider whether the strategy as a whole is worth considering. So if you consider the strategy as a whole, I'd look at it as the same fundamentals and principles that you would do any potential property deal, whether it's on the market with an estate agent or whether it's an off-plan opportunity that's been presented to you by a property sourcer. If you look at the location and the rental yields and the price of the property that you can purchase at today, you'll get an understanding as to whether that potential deal is going to be right for you. So that's whether the opportunity as a new build, off-plan development might be right. To look at then in isolation whether a particular site or a particular property is going to be right is quite important. So there are some developments that I've seen where the yields are as low as maybe 3 or 4%, and that's just way too low for a long-term buy and hold strategy to maintain, because if you have any form of finance, that's going to be wiped out on day one. Obviously running costs, maintenance, management, things like that, as well is going to impact that potential yield. So if you consider off-plan developments as a whole package and then the individual sites as to whether they work, hopefully you'll get a lot closer to whether that particular opportunity is going to be right for you. We certainly see lots of off-plan developments that are very good. They're in the right geographic location, they've got the right tenant profile, they've got the right long-term growth and potential aspect as a potential deal. And then it's important to just, in isolation, have a look at the deal and see, right, do the yields make sense? Is the developer good, long-standing? Have they got kind of pedigree in that type of market? And then also the detail around the potential deal. So how long is that development going to be? If you're buying a site that's ready to be completed in maybe a month or two's time, it's typically a lot easier to assess the values. Whereas if you're looking to reserve a potential opportunity, but it's not going to be developed for another year or maybe even 2 years or 18 months, it's a lot harder to try and assess what the potential prices of that property might change over that time frame. The flip side of that is very often you can buy at a much better price today based on today's comparisons. So it's a trade-off trying to understand what the potential kind of downsides and upsides potentially are. Some things to consider as well with new build developments compared to existing housing stock is, from an energy efficiency point of view and a maintenance point of view, very often they are much better over the long term. Housing stock or historic housing stock in the UK is great. It's very stable, long-standing, lots of demand typically if it's in the right location. But the reality is you might have a property that you buy that's a 2-bedroom terrace or a 3-bedroom semi. If it's not gone through a recent refurbishment, there's going to be an end-of-life cycle with the roof that's maybe a bit closer to being replaced, and certainly if you were looking at a new build development, other things like electrics, plumbing, obviously the boiler, bathrooms, kitchens might be slightly dated, or decoration might be slightly dated. Now it's all fixable, which is good, but there's a cost and time element to doing that. Very often a new build development is much easier to make a decision and assessment on. It's much quicker to get up and running as well and generating an income on day one. So it's a trade-off of trying to understand what the potential, let's say, benefits are on two given deals. So if you're assessing maybe an existing building compared to an off-plan development, whether your particular requirements and aims maybe tend to guide you towards one or the other. But certainly from a maintenance aspect, new build developments are a lot easier going forward. They have less things close to the end of a life cycle that need replacing. And then also when a tenant moves in, you're going to have a long-standing tenant typically that's not going to have maintenance issues. So finally, just to recap on buy-to-let investments and specifically new build developments, I would consider them, but not just as a particular strategy on its own. Consider them in combination with other types of strategies. Weigh up the pros and cons of both. Certainly new build developments can have lots of potential benefits, and if it's the right deal, the right location, the right yield, the right tenant profile, then absolutely consider looking at new build developments over existing potentially housing stock. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this content and you'd like to join our free online property training course, we've got a link for it on this page. And in there we cover a range of different property strategies to help you get started, either building a long-term property portfolio or creating a cash flowing property business. We also look at ways to increase your return on investment with any of the properties you're maybe considering, and we also have a couple of cheat sheets and downloadable documents in there as well. Simply click on the link to join the free training course today.